Welcome back. We're going to finish up with part two of the Middle Colonies, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and a little bit about the backcountry. Okay, Pennsylvania becomes known as the Quaker colony. You may have heard of the word Quaker. Okay, there's Pennsylvania, a very large tract of land. Pennsylvania was settled by a religious group called the Quakers. The Quakers were similar to the Puritans that settled Massachusetts, remember the Pilgrims, but they had some very big differences. Of course, like the Pilgrims and the Puritans, they were persecuted, put in jail, and whipped. Remember the Church of England? You had one religion in England that you could worship. You could not worship any other religions. So William Penn, the leader of the Quakers, said he wanted to come and bring some people over here, so he made a deal with King Charles. It just so happened that King Charles's dad had lent King Charles a lot of money, and King Charles didn't have any way of paying that back. So King Charles said, "Hey, instead of me paying you back, how about we give you all this land in America?" He said, "We'll call it even." William Penn said, "That's a great idea." So they got their people together and they came over to America and settled in Pennsylvania, named after William Penn. William Penn came and he had an idea of how he wanted his religious tolerance to look in his colony, and he called it the Holy Experiment. The Holy Experiment is basically broken into two main parts. Okay, the first part of the Holy Experiment was that he was going to have religious toleration in his colony of any religion. This is the fundamental difference between the Puritans and the Quakers, where the Puritans said they wanted to practice their own religion, but they didn't want anybody else to veer off what they had, and they would kick people out of their colonies. That's how New Hampshire and Rhode Island and Connecticut got formed. But here, they said no matter what faith you want to practice, you are welcome to practice that. And that was kind of the first of its kind, so it's kind of a big deal. A second major difference is how they were going to treat the Native Americans. If you noticed in Massachusetts, we had the Wampanoag Indians of the King Philip's War. They had the Puritans were trying to expand west and had went to war and fought them. Here, he said, we're not going to do that. We're going to be friends with the Native Americans. We're not going to try to convert them to our religion. And if we want to move west, we're going to offer to pay for their land. So a very different concept than what anybody else had at that time. He also started a city called Philadelphia, and they called that city the City of Brotherly Love. That's in the southeast corner of Philadelphia. And of course, Philadelphia is one of the major cities in the United States today. Pennsylvania became known as America's breadbasket because they made so much wheat and they traded and made bread and traded with the rest of the colonies and with England. If you look on the right side here, there's a kind of a little map of things that Pennsylvania is known for. On the left side, the Quakers. If you've ever had oatmeal, okay, with their wheat, this is where the Quaker oats comes from. So there's this old commercial, but this has to do with the Quakers in Pennsylvania.
If you could fix oatmeal with no pot and no mess, would you? You can, you know. Right in a bowl, right in the microwave. In 90 seconds. Quaker oats. It's the right thing to do.
Okay, so this is where that comes from, the Quakers in Pennsylvania and William Penn. Our last colony in the Middle Colonies is Delaware. Delaware was given to Pennsylvania after England took control of New Netherlands. And it was just a very small parcel of land, but it did have access to a harbor. It was made beginning of three counties, separate counties that were combined to become Delaware. Delaware had been settled by people from Sweden, okay? And again, just like they took over land from New Netherlands, England just kind of came in and kind of took it from them, okay? I'm going to kind of go fast through it here. So there's your Netherlands. And then if you're looking back in Europe, people from Sweden. So it just wasn't France, England, and Spain, but other countries. But they didn't really have the military fight or might to try to counteract anybody else that was trying to get them, especially with England. All right, I'm going to kind of go fast here. I'm going to finish up with the backcountry. The backcountry, we said, was this parcel of land that is between the Appalachian Mountains and the colonies. And people from different parts of Europe would move here. People that couldn't afford to buy land on their own, so they would move back here. Now, they were not protected, not under any charters, not under any colonies. And at first, they got along with people from the Native Americans. So this is a map here, just I got of a lot of other immigrants coming to the United, or what would become the United States at this time, and they went to the backcountry. As more and more people came, there more conflict and fighting, but they just want to introduce here the term backcountry. Okay, that takes us to the end of the Middle Colonies. Continue the activities. Thank you very much. And later on, we'll finish up with the third and final region, the Southern Colonies. Bye-bye.